Hello, everyone. This is Memphis Mark coming to you from Mullet Manor. And, of course, I'm with Maintenance Maverick out of parts unknown over there. How you doing, Maverick?
It's been pretty good, man. It's been a little bit hot over here lately, but you know what? Perfect time to stay inside with the AC on, just watch some wrestling. What about you, Mark?
Man, it is raining cats and dogs. I met a guy named Noah earlier. He had a boat. It's been every weekend it's been that way. But I did get to see Collision. And it looked like a good crowd. It was in Saskatchewan. That's two times in a row I've said it correctly. Regina, and the show starts off going straight into promos. I kind of like it's something different to start a show off. I mean, what do you think about it?
So they've been doing this, I feel like, since the Owen Hart tournament has started, and I really enjoy seeing just having opponents go at each other a little bit, just jaw-jacking in separate interviews, I guess, in a way, just these separate promos. Really love it. It's a great way to start the show off, just to give you a little hint at what we have soon to come later on. You have any more thoughts on it, man?
Well, yeah, actually, it's kind of an old school way of doing it because it would make you go ahead and hurry up and get back from the kitchen, and sit down because you start hearing the promos and you don't want to miss nothing. And so it's kind of a little old school feel, but I tell you what, they go straight into Powerhouse Hobbs and Ricky Starks. And man, this match did not disappoint. I mean, I'll let you start off on this one.
So Haas versus Starks. Looking at my notes from the beginning, it felt like it was the size difference was a big part in this. They were kind of playing on, okay, Starks being the smaller guy, Hobbs being the bigger guy. They're kind of having Hobbs bully Starks a little bit throughout of it. It was pretty enjoyable. I liked seeing Hobbs playing the brick house bully. I really, it works for him. He's kind of what I would have wanted out of Mark Henry for a few years in WWE, but, they have their own separate type of matches that they like to have him do. And, Starks, I thought he sold very well. There was a couple of times during a picture-in-picture I saw, Hobbs standing on for a second. The way he was screaming, it seemed kind of realistic. I really liked the way that was going on. Having listen to the crowd as well, their reactions are spot on for what it should be. He is playing a great heel. Hearing the fans boo him with every single strike, that was really cool to hear, and just to see, okay, he's doing his job. They're giving him the pop that he's supposed to have. There was a great powerbomb from Starks off the top rope. I was not sure if he was going to be able to hold on to him because, that's a big guy in Starks. He's not the biggest guy, but man, he really held him up. And, Aubrey Edwards, she does a really great job as a ref. I really enjoyed watching her, just the way that she kind of performs into the show. She really does help out with it, help with the flow. She actually has her own character, it feels like, at this point. But, felt like the match told a story in the end, that being he's been winning by interference by QT Marshall. Now he's going to lose by interference from QT Marshall. And then seeing that turn at the end, that kind of made me question, is he going to go babyface now? Or is he going to continue on this warpath, maybe just try to go on his own? What do you think, Mark?
Man, I thought it was classic writing. It is something they probably went back in the files and just pulled out an old script or not a script, but an old storyline, and because it had all the feels of old school. Yeah, and Hobbs, yeah, you got to let him because he's so big. You got to let him throw him around. And Stark sold. He sold good. He had his little spurts. And then you have at the end, of course, like you said, you win that way, you lose that way. And you have the turn. You got, Aaron Solo coming in to try to save him, and he gets spine buster for his efforts. And then you had Harley running in and eventually saving him, and he storms off. I mean, I thought it was great. I thought it was great. A solid match and a good starting match. So, I mean, you can't ask for more to start it off, except when you throw Muro. You throw Muro in, and I believe that was he came after that. Muro did his great promo. I loved it. He of course has no one to love, and he has a double jointed hot wife. So what else can you ask for in a promo?
Right. Honestly, I really enjoyed this promo. I like the way that Miro is going. I gave this promo a 7 out of 10 for my rating scale. Uh, the whole thing being kind of centered around, I have nothing left to lose right now, it kind of seems like. And it kind of reminded me of a quote that I heard a long time ago. Not sure who it's from, but the quote being, if you have nothing to live for, you better find something to die for. That's kind of the vibe that I'm getting from Miro at this point, and I'm really excited to see where he goes next with this. And I believe that led into Athena and Willow's promo that happened next. What thoughts did you have on that?
Well, just anybody with the name Nightingale immediately makes me go get a refill of a drink or something. But anyway, you know, they got her out there. She's injured, I guess, and of course they've got to bring somebody out there, Athena, to give her a little time, because I think they were supposed to have a match, and it you know, or somehow it got put off by the injury. So it gives Athena a little airtime, you know, the Ring of Honor Women's Champ. So, you know, it doesn't matter, but they're setting up an angle.
Yeah, I agree, man. They're setting up at least something for the future, and I remember seeing Athena when she was Ember Moon. I saw her live once at a WWE house show, and I remember just thinking, this girl can perform. And you guys all know that I am a fan of Willow Nightingale. I would love to see these two have a match. I don't know if they have before or anything. Maybe somebody could, you know, DM me and let me know if that's already happened before. But I'm excited to see when these two go at it, because I know they both can perform. They both are pretty athletic. Yeah, I'm excited to see what comes up next for them.
Our first disagreement. I like it. They're
Fair enough.
Yeah, they're setting up Blood and Guts coming up. They did a nice little promo on that, and of course, then you have Julia Hart going against Jabroni One Bambi Hall, and with that opening, I have to let you start it off.
All right, so in my notes, the first thing that I did was Julia Hart versus, and I couldn't quite hear her name at first. I put question mark, and then when I finally heard them say Bambi Hall, I wrote in Bambi next to it. But honestly, it's just another jobber, really. Then looking at the size difference, it just didn't feel right in the beginning how the match was going. It just kind of looked strange to me. And I also wrote down in my notes, this match starting off feels like a junior high school chick fight. I don't know. I just wasn't a fan of it in the beginning. And then at the end of it, I put Wednesday Addams wins. It was kind of a boring squash. I'm glad it ended with submission. At least that felt a little bit realistic. That, you know, if the smaller person in the match is going to put you in an armbar or something, hey, you're going to tap out because you know they're going to break it, type of thing. What were you thinking during that, Mark?
Well, it did show a little bit of Julia Hart. She can actually move a little bit, and I believe the girl's Bambi there, she slaps her a couple of times and puts, I think they call it the Heartless Lock, and Bambi taps out. But it leads into a promo though with Malachi Black, and I'm going to let you take this name.
Andrade El Idolo.
Yeah, what he said. And of course they're trying to get that mask back. And you know, he's back, you know, Andre, he's back there, he's in backstage. He says he's a businessman and he doesn't hide behind the mask, but the mask is everything to him because it's about his family, his culture, his country. And, so, you know, that's his standing up for it. Now, I did like the way he spoke clearly, slowly, and got his point across, because I know the English has been hard on him, but I think he did actually, Andrade. I think he did good in this promo. I mean, what did you think about it?
So I really enjoyed this angle that they're going for, because it's making me question where they're going. This feels like it is fresh, and it's not something that I have seen before.
Yeah.
Just because I'm kind of seeing the House of Black, it feels almost supernatural, like how Kane and The Undertaker were many moons ago, as well as you're kind of seeing Andrade just saying, like, no, that's not what that mask is to me. It is how I honor my family, how I honor my culture, and it just seems like, all right, this is something new. I'm not sure how this is going to work out in the end, but I'm really enjoying watching it unfold right now. It feels like every week I'm seeing this, and it's like I want to tune in for this again. and I'm really excited to see where it goes from here. The whole mask thing, this could go either way. It could be, no, I'm just a normal guy who once in a while likes to wear a mask. What's the big deal? Or it could be that, maybe they end up joining forces and creating some sort of new faction to go against maybe Dark Order or something, and then have just one faction lead over AEW, having that darker tone to them and supernatural, I don't want to call it abilities, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, it's great. I think it's it's kind of like the closest thing we've seen to an Undertaker, or maybe when Bray first come out or something like that. I mean, it's as close as we've had to that. And what did Andrade say? He takes his mask off and it's time to fight and win. So, and he said it clearly. So we can't ask for anything more than that. But man, Maverick, man, did we get a match to start off. I'm going to say it is the best match I've seen this year. FTR and the Bullet Club, go, baby. Bang, bang. And I just, Dax and man, look, you just go ahead and get started, because I've got like 5 pages of notes on one match. So you go ahead and start it off.
All right. So starting off, as soon as I heard what the stipulation was, what was it? It reminds me of defy or deny rules, which was something in ROH years ago.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Okay, so, it reminds me of defy or deny rules years ago in ROH. I remember it had something to do with basically you're going to face the champion. If you win, then you get your title shot. But if you lose, you're going to absolutely deny them. They're not allowed to ever challenge you as long as you're still the reigning champion. I remember earlier in the match, there was one slip up that I saw where Cash had to redo a flip from the arm hold, but that was the only thing that I saw that was a little bit sloppy. Beyond that, this match was almost perfect. And by the end of it, I was sad that it ended. I was like, this reminds me of, years ago in NXT, there was a match between Sami Zayn and Shinsuke Nakamura. And I remember seeing those two going at it and hearing the crowd for the first time chanting "Fight Forever" and thinking, man, this is actually a match that I want to see. I don't want this to end, and neither do they. I feel like the crowd probably felt the same way. So going through the whole match itself, I really enjoyed just the small things that they did that may have seemed a little bit indie at times, but you know what? It was a good show, and I really enjoyed seeing it. Things like little do-si-do they did when when FTR was thrown into each other. It was interesting. It's something I haven't seen in a while. There was a couple of great hot tags and whatnot that went on. I've written down that there was an interesting knee maneuver that FTR did against Bullet Club Gold. I believe it was Dax grabbed Switchblade by the hair and threw him into Cash Wheeler's knees as he was holding them up while sitting on the ropes. There was a lot of great just tag team wrestling. They were going in whenever the ref wasn't looking. Both sides, it felt like. Both sides were taking as much advantage as possible of just stepping in the ring whenever they could to help out their partner. The suplex in the corner, that looked very brutal that I saw. And during this match, I started to realize as well, the announcers have improved greatly on the show. Did you notice that as well? I feel like in the first episode of Collision, they were a little lackluster. Did you think that they improved some?
Yeah, I think I was down the first show. I did not like the announcers, but I've slowly, I agree. But man, this match, I think anybody could have called this match.
Yeah, I agree.
We get your point across, bud, before I even start into my ramble.
I got one more thing to talk about real quick. So eventually they start leading into the bigger moves and seeing things like the brain buster that was hit. God, that was perfect by Dax. The tag team superplex off the top rope and then the splash once again from FTR. It was just awesome. And I remember I'm actually sitting on the edge of my chair for once again and thinking, this is wrestling. And that's what I was hearing the crowd chant as well. And I'm thinking, God, I am so happy that I'm watching this again. Seeing the rebound powerbomb as well was very nice. And I swear at one point it looked like Jay was foaming at the mouth. Both sides did great during this match. I give it a 9 out of 10 because I loved this, and it is probably the best this year. And also really enjoyed the post-match promo that happened right after. What were you thinking, Mark?
Man, it's look. I'm throwing my notes in the air. It's just I can't. This was a 5-star banger match. Everything you could ask for. You had Juice with his left hand of God. You had sleeper suplexes. You had everything from belly to belly suplexes to, I mean, just anything you wanted to see. And the kickouts towards the end, you kept thinking, oh, I see where this is going to, oh, I see it right now. It's going, I mean, they kept making some old people like me. They're going, I hear it is. I see it. And then they just kept on. And it was, wow. And this Regalplex, I mean, just, I can't go through, and try to keep up. It was by far the best match I've seen this year. The best match in AEW I've seen for sure. I was not the greatest Switchblade fan, but after this match, I've changed my opinion. I don't know any other way to put it. Definitely, of course, the winner was the Bullet Club Gold. And I don't know how they could even top it, but they did. Well, not top it, but then they come back, like you said, with that promo. And I'm really becoming a big fan of Juice. I just really, his hair, just everything about him screams 70s wrestler to me. He's a throwback. Not too big, not too muscular, but he's going to throw his arms up like he is. And what's he called? He has the juice box.
Yep.
What can you ask for? I mean, and the promo afterwards, and there was a lot of handshaking in the show. A lot of handshaking, and I kept waiting for, and we'll get to it, but it finally catches up to someone. But, yeah, the whole match good. The after promo, and poor Sean Spears. They put a promo with Sean Spears and Christian in between. And I guess in writing, I guess that makes sense. But it was a good little promo with Sean Spears and Christian, before that. And then of course the 2 out of 3 falls next week, that FTR and Bullet Club are going to have for the belts. And, what did they call them? Fuzzy Wuzzies?
Yeah, he called Dax Fuzzy Wuzzy. I couldn't remember what he called Cash Wheeler, but there was some other nickname for him, I believe, as well.
You gotta love somebody that walks out, calls you Fuzzy Wuzzy, and then shakes your hand. I'm not buying a used car from them, I can tell you that. But yeah, Fuzzy Wuzzy. All right, and then and after that, in the Sean Spears promo, we've got Scorpio Sky and Action Andretti. They say I can say it that way. But yeah, man, Scorpio Sky I thought looked great. Looked like a seasoned veteran and like somebody that they could really build off of. And even the end of the match, he did the class move and just, man, I loved, I'm a Scorpio Sky fan. What about you, my friend?
So I'm also a fan of Scorpio Sky. This match, it felt a little bit slow at the start, and then I realized why, because we just finished up FTR versus Bullet Club Gold. And how can you follow that up? That's got to be such a hard weight on their shoulders. But it was a good match overall. It was solid. Action Andrade, I feel like, or Andretti, I believe is how it's pronounced for him. I believe he is good, but I kind of feel like he would excel right now as a tag team if we can find somebody similar to him. You know what I mean? There's just, every once in a while, there's one of those guys who he's doing good. It's just, I feel like as a tag team, he would do a little bit better for some reason.
You mean like a Bobby Eaton? He's just universal, stick him into a tag team?
Maybe, but yeah. During the match, I thought the Spanish Fly that Andretti hit, it was absolutely beautiful, pitch perfect. Scorpio Sky sold it pretty well. Yeah, I thought that Scorpio Sky as well, when he came into this match, he looked healthy. I think he definitely bulked up some. And yeah, I think at the end of it, both parties looked good. There was, Scorpio Sky doing the honorable thing and shaking his opponent's hand before walking out. It definitely helps out with him as a face. Yeah, I feel like at the end of this match, nobody's getting buried. Nobody's, being raised up too much. I feel like this is going to be a slow, gradual build, and it's going to work for both of them in the end. But for Scorpio Sky, it's just going to be a little bit faster.
Yeah, and I do think Sky's bulked up a little bit since I hadn't thought about that, but since you brought that up, I agree with you. That class move at the end, so makes him look like the gentleman I'm sure he is. But hey, we get another one, man, and it's unusual to have 2 or 3 really solid matches on a card, and it's just pure accidents alone. It's hard to put on some shows like they did last night. But we get Samoa Joe and Mr. Collision CM Punk coming out, and even the whole thing had a different feel. But he kept dropping those little pipe bombs, kind of like where I'm going to give it my full effort, or I'm going to leave it all in the ring. And even his opening monologue when he came out and did his little interview at the first of the show, it was a little different. He sounded a little old school Punk, and then a little watered down Punk too. But still, it was a great match. And I'll let you take it from here, man, and I'll come back in on the back end there, brother.
So I enjoyed this match a lot, knowing about the rivalry, and I have been following these two guys' careers since I basically got into wrestling. I remember growing up watching Samoa Joe in TNA and CM Punk being in WWE on the other end, and to me it was almost like just competing companies, just watching back and forth and thinking, man, these two guys would have had a great match together. Little did I know they already had an ROH a couple of years prior. I just didn't know about it. I hadn't really seen ROH yet. So at the beginning, it felt like there was some feat of strength style, and of course Joe was winning. Makes perfect sense. And then they said something at one point during the match, the announcers did. They said that Samoa Joe used to spar with, who was it? Ortiz from UFC. That confused me a little bit. Thinking about it, it's like, I wonder how true this is. I need to do some research. If anybody just knows for sure, feel free to send me a message or whatever. And then watching during the crossbody that CM Punk was trying to hit, it looked really good the way that whole transition happened. Seeing CM Punk jump off and Joe kind of doing a heel thing, just looking up, walking away like, no, you're not going to hit this on me today. Joe used his size to bully Punk around very well. CM Punk was selling very well as well. And then there's at one point, did CM Punk bite his tongue or something? Because there's just a random amount of blood coming out of nowhere. Did you see that?
Yeah, I saw that. And the announcer just said it, he spotted it on, and when the blood got on his tape, he said something about it. But I'm not sure. It could have been one of those little knees that he took, or that. No, it was a punch just before that. So it was probably either the punch or the fall.
Right. And I also wrote down that it was interesting to see Punk doing some high-flying stuff, more than his normal amount. It felt like he was going to the top rope, and they're kind of playing into CM Punk's size. He needs something extra here. He's running around more. He's jumping off of things to try to get more of a hit on Samoa Joe, and it makes sense to me. Something I also did write down that also had to do with CM Punk's promo in the beginning. I didn't really speak much on this, but is AEW kind of kissing Canada's butt right now with all this Owen Hart stuff? Are they trying to really brown nose with Canada's audience to make them really want to see more of this and to get them more involved in the show? Because I heard them chanting Owen Hart multiple times throughout the show, and it just makes me wonder, is this a new tactic of theirs? Are they kind of just really trying to make Canada be over on AEW? What do you think about that?
Well, Punk did bring it up for the crowd to chant Owen Hart. So I think that was some of the part of hearing that. But, they did, there was some suckage going on there. I do agree with you. And not to downplay the match, because the match was good. If we didn't see what we saw with FTR and Bullet Club, I would say this was by far the best match of the night. But man, yeah, they were definitely bringing up the Canada, and every time they could, they were bringing up Owen Hart, which God bless him and his family, but it did sound a little funny. But the match, man, the match was great. You're right. Punk was jumping off stuff, and we did not. The first time Punk went to jump, all I could think about was the Sting jump. I was like, oh no, oh man, oh man, up top. I was like, no, please. But Punk pulled it off. He pulled it off, and we didn't see an old man going into a table that doesn't move. And so, yeah, with Punk got to bully him around and show at the end that at the end he's over there hollering, what was it? I've always been better than you. So it's still, there's still going to be a storyline there. You know what I mean? It's cool because of the, oh man, you beat me, so let me shake your hand. And there again, like I mentioned earlier, a lot of handshaking going on, but this time it played out because it ends up in a chokehold, and we get a good ending. And then, of course, he's going to do what he did to what was it, Roderick Strong, or last week. He put him out supposedly, so he looks like he's going to take that angle. And then FDR does the run in and the save, and then they end it with Starks, standing up there looking out. So I kind of like the little twist, the little twist at the end there. What do you think?
Yeah, I really liked that aftermath because it shows like, okay, they were partners, a couple of weeks ago, and they were, on-screen friends at this point, but now they're going to have to go against each other. It kind of seemed like does Starks want to run down to potentially help, or is he just eyeing up his opponent right now? Maybe a little bit of both, who knows? But the one thing that I also did write down about the end of the match was it was a roll-up finish in a way. That's something that, me and the Gardener, we kind of feel strongly about when you see it a lot. This one felt okay. This is the first time I've really seen it in AEW. And I wrote under there as a note, please don't let it become a habit, AEW. I don't want to see a million roll-up finishes for these big matches. This was fine. They had a good enough match. And yeah, as well as for Joe doing the heel thing at the end, it works for his character. We're going to see a great storyline after. I'm excited to see where this goes next. Always loved seeing Joe and Punk as well.
Yeah, I liked the roll-up in this situation because he set the roll-up up with him not being able to get him up for the GTS. So, it's you know what I mean? The roll-up looked okay in this situation because his knee is supposedly out. He can't pick the big guy up, but he can roll him up. And he didn't, I don't think they even put the angle up of him holding the tights. That would have been good. That would have given him a little something extra to add on to. But man, overall, man, this was a great freaking show, and I hate that Michael and Rocky, they had those IRLs, man. They got to get out there and do what they got to do. So hopefully next week we can get them back in and get their opinion on this. But what did you think of the overall show?
Show overall was very good. I was enjoying myself watching. The one thing I kind of started wondering about after the tag match was over was, did this run longer because they didn't have a women's match lined up because of Willow's injury, or was this just planned the whole time?
That's interesting, actually. Yeah, I wonder if that could have changed. I don't know. That's a good point because they could have told the guys, we need you to go, an extra 7 or something. Or who knows? That'll be something that we'll have to read on down the road. And
right. But yeah, so watching through it was very fun to watch. We didn't really cover too much of the Luchasaurus and Christian Cage promo there, but what I put in my notes was I just write them as Lucha Cage at this point. I think that it's really being summed up now by something that Christian Cage said that, it was a scripted slip-up saying, you will know about our title reign. And I feel like that's just the best way to sum it up at this point is our reign.
Yeah. It's definitely complete. And if they just had to put that into the show after a 5-star match, and it just got covered up. And same way with the Shawn Spears promo. I thought his was a good spot on him. So, yeah, it's kind of hard after you've been breathing hard, waiting for that finish of that other match, and then they just throw that in there. You kind of look over it a little bit. But, all right. Well, Mav, what did you got? Anything else? You got anything you want to plug or anything you want to throw out there to anybody?
Oh, right. So I want to give a shout out to one of my best friends growing up. His name was Eric Winchell. I just wanted to remind you, man, you and I used to actually have like backyard wrestling matches and stuff. And I remember my mom had this giant fenced dog cage type thing. We used to have our quote unquote cage matches back there. And we had our own stupid rules for it. We would try to like climb the cage and everything because it was a good like 10 feet tall. It was just a giant metal fence in our backyard, really, that went up against another fence. I remember we just used to have the most fun watching wrestling and then trying to be wrestlers. And then that leads to my next shout out being to my Uncle Tim. Because I remember I think I was like 8 or 9 years old. He started showing me how to hit certain wrestling moves because he was a wrestler in the indies for a little bit. And he was trying to show me how to do like a flying head scissors and how to do monkey flips. And he used to tell me like I was hitting the flying head scissors perfectly. And he really helped me with inspiring me and bringing me into this. So yeah, I just want to say thank you. And I don't think he really understands how much that really meant to me as a kid. Yeah. What about you, Mark? You got anybody to hit up while you're on the air here with me?
Man, I tell you what, it's the same old with me. It's just my ending and take care of the pets out there. But, ma'am, I believe we've done it. I think we have done another an update or a little review of Collision for 7/8. And I think we might as well just end it here. What do you think there, bud?
Yeah, I agree, man. Anybody out there listening, you can reach me at Maintenance Mav on Twitter. Hit me up if you think there's anything I can improve, and do something nice for somebody in your life if you see them struggling at any point. And with that, I'm out.
There you go. Well, of course, rescue if you can, spay and neuter. This is Memphis Mark, and for all of us, for Rocky, for the gardener, Michael, all of us here, we're out.
Thanks for listening to the WWE Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss a show, or head to WWEpodcast.com. And for all of these shows ad-free, head over to patreon.com/WWE Podcast. Until then, we'll see you next time.